Welcome to Place and Experience. Indulge your senses with immersive game titles. Boost the excitement with our engaging promotional tools and generous network promotions. Be in control with XI Viewport Management Tool and experience seamless gameplay powered by X Platform. Enjoy Place and Experience as our partners do in over 20 regulated markets. And get ready to go big. Big play is on. Placent.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of your Next.io weekly news, bringing you the biggest headlines week in, week out with the one and only, my partner in crime, my ride or die, Bet It Best CEO, Mr. Nico Jansen. How are you, brother?
I'm pretty awesome. Hopefully you're good as well. Weather is still great here in Munich. Wait, I just need to close the door to actually, keep the kids from, interrupting. No, there's just some cleaning going on, and I just want to make sure, because this week we will be joined by two experts, and there should be nothing disturbing us or the audience from being enlightened by these two awesome SEO experts.
Absolutely right, Nico. You are quite right to point out we are going to be joined by two experts in the field of digital marketing in just a few minutes to talk all things SEO, not least the impact of the latest Google update, which I think it's fair to say has sent shockwaves through the industry. A lot of businesses suffering, some doing better than others. We're going to be diving deeper into exactly what that means for the sector. But first, let me say thank you right at the top to Place and for sponsoring this episode. And Nico, let me say thank you to you, because I know you'll never let us down. You must have prepared the biggest headlines for this week. So before we bring on our special guests, why don't you hit us with your famous 10 in 5? Take it away.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. So the Caesars share price surges, increases 16% after an activist investor takes stake. So Caesars Entertainment's share price surged nearly 16% on Friday, last week Friday, 31st of May, following reports of an historic activist investor, Carl Icahn, amassing a sizable position. Icahn said there's absolutely no activism contemplated in Caesars. A number of years ago, we were instrumental in putting Caesars and Eldorado together, and our opinion on Tom Reeg as CEO of Caesars was very high then and continues to be high at this time. But one thing is for sure, it doesn't get boring when I can just, invest into your company. Evolution takes Light & Wonder to court over alleged copycat content. US-facing iGaming supplier Evolution has filed a lawsuit against Light & Wonder over an alleged intellectual property infringement. The suit was filed in the Nevada District Court last week with claims from Evolution that Light & Wonder made use of an IP related to the former's Lightning Roulette title, assessing marks filed to create copycat games. So it will be fun on this end as well. Allwyn, parent to cut ties with Russia following parliamentary scrutiny. So the US national lottery operator Allwyn, parent company, will cut ties with Russian state-owned enterprises following parliamentary scrutiny. KKGC, an investment fund owned by the Czech billionaire Karel Komárek, announced last Tuesday, 28th of May, its M&E subsidiary would sever its remaining ties to Russian state-owned enterprise Gazprom. The business was previously a 50-50 joint venture with Gazprom, but the state-owned company share was diluted to 2.76% in March 2024. Spain's Q1 GGR increased by over 15% year-on-year to 350.69 million. So Spain's Directorate General for Regulation of Gambling has reported a gross gambling revenue increase for the country's gambling market in the first quarter of 2024, reaching a GGR of 350.67, which is an increase of 15%. Staying in Europe, as Dutch players are facing 700 euros affordability checks from October the 1st. As October the 1st, Dutch players will have to meet 700 euros affordability checks after new regulations about responsible gaming will be released. Besides this, new affordability checks of 300 euros per month will be applied to Dutch players aged 18 up to 24 years of age, which increase to 700 euros for players older than 24. Then, also quite interesting, as GIG acquires Casino Meister for 3 million euros to improve online gaming transparency. The acquisition deal is structured as an asset purchase for 3 million, and it's anticipated to close in June. So shout out to Brian Bailey, who has more than 25 years of building Casino Meister. Then report as 860 black market operators in 3 US states generate 9.5 billion. And this just applies to the states of New York, New Jersey, and Minnesota. EvoPlay CCO Vladimir Malakshi launches an iGaming investment fund. And their goal, so our goal was to build not just an efficient investment fund, but a whole ecosystem of businesses allowing each of its members to move towards the excellence together, as stated. So then an activist investor calls for 6 billion sale of Penn Entertainment. And last but not least, and let me get this straight to you as well, as Incentive Games and Bet365 launch a new group stage predictor games. So Incentive Games has announced the release of a new Eurofinals group stage predictor and Copper Finals group stage predictor games in collaboration with Bet365. But guess what? And hold your horses. The sales and deal pipeline is fully charged, and there will be even more news to be shared within the next days. And I'm pretty sure we will be joined on the pod by one of the co-founders and a good friend of mine, John, and this will be so much fun as well. But let's open up the stage for today's special guests, and they will enlighten us on SEO.
Well done, Nico. I think that's the first time ever you actually got your 10 in 5 to under 5 minutes. I know you're raring to get our guests on, and we're going to do that in just a few seconds. But first, we have a very short video to share with you first.
Games, hundreds of studios, dozens of Hub Market partners, an industry-leading Hub wallet, and just one API. Hub 88 is connecting businesses to a world of limitless content where the possibilities are endless. Hub 88.
There you have it, and thank you once again to Hub 88 for sponsoring this episode. Now, that's enough chit-chat, Nico. It's time, I think. Let's get into the weeds of this because there's so much to discuss. I think it's time now to welcome our very special guests onto the pod. As we've already mentioned, we've got two leading experts in the world of SEO and digital marketing, and especially with a background in affiliate marketing, which of course is one of the most impacted sectors when it comes to Google updates and changes to SEO. So without further ado, I think we're working on it on the background. We have Ivana Flynn, an SEO consultant and expert, and John Wright, the co-founder of StatsDrone. Ivana, John, thank you very much for joining us. How are you both?
Amazing. Doing really well.
Ivana, you may be on mute. I don't know if that's a technical problem or if you just need to unmute yourself. Let's see.
I unmuted myself.
There we go. It's okay.
Yes.
We've only been working
Yes,
remotely for 5 or 6 years now, so we're all still getting used to it with you. But welcome to the show, guys. We're very glad to have you here. We know you're big supporters of us here at Weekly News and at Next.io, so it's very good to have you on board. Just to kick things off, Ivana, why don't we start with you? explain to us a little bit about your background and why you're here to talk about SEO today.
Thank you very much for having me, for the invitation. I'm Ivana Flynn. I have 16 years of SEO on my belt. I'm with iGaming for 8 years now. And I work with the big names such as Betson, Come On, William Hill, Mr. Green, and Catena. I consult, I research SEO, I speak in conferences, speak in podcasts. When it comes to SEO, you cannot shut me up. I always have opinions and I always look into everything that's going on because it's my bread and butter. And I just love it. I love how it changes. Sometimes it's scary that Google can just make you or break you, but it is what it is. And as long as we keep learning from it, we can actually profit. We just need to adjust.
Amazing. Great intro and a very impressive roster of clients there, Ivana. I'm sure we've got lots and lots to learn from you today. Now, John, I can see your guitar in the background. I'm sure you are a very talented musician, but that's not why you're with us today. Why don't you tell us about your company, StatsDrone, and why you're here with us this afternoon?
Sure. I've been in iGaming for 23 years. Ironically enough, I started as a bonus hunter on sites like Casino Meister to learn about the industry. I've been an affiliate manager and VIP manager for maybe 5 years, then built affiliate sites and got to work with affiliates as an affiliate manager. So my background's engineering, and I'm going full circle back into engineering. And, I think one reason why I'm happy to be on the show and what I can talk about from an SEO is I've had to do SEO for operations. I've had to do it for my own affiliate sites. I've done affiliate coaching, some SEO consulting. And more importantly, I just need to understand this space. So I have a podcast and half of the guests are SEO people. And at some point, I think we're going to have Ivana Flynn on my podcast. So we'll chat about that after.
Thank you. I already accepted. So now you cannot take it back. Now I'm in.
Done.
That's what we're all about here at Weekly News, making connections, guys. That's what it's all about. Nico, why don't you kick us off and tell us what you want to talk about today when it comes to SEO and all these recent changes?
Yeah, so first of all, besides Ivana being the expert on SEO, having more than 16 years on her belt, she is still the reigning champion of the quiz of last year when we were going toe to toe, head to head, and she just won. So besides being an expert on SEO, you're still the reigning champion, and kudos to you. But besides this, and as Ari said, there are a lot of changes happening in the SEO world. And Ivana, if you could just pick us up why SEO is so important to the gaming industry, how it actually works and why it's so important to the gaming industry.
Okay. So when you think of iGaming, you have got the game providers, you have got operators and sportsbook, and you have got affiliation. If you are with operator or sportsbook, you have got the luxury of mixture of certain marketing channels, including PPC, SEO, affiliation, CRM, everything. When you are in affiliation, which is what we're talking about today, your most important and almost only traffic is SEO. Most of SEO is coming from Google. I don't want to say search is Google because we still have got Yahoo, we have got Bing, which are growing and taking more and more of the pot and of the market share. And especially since Google is messing up because there were lots of things from lowering the search quality in 2019 and actually really trying to break the search so people go through PPC, to the recent changes of March update, Parasite SEO now releasing the AI overviews, which are absolutely horrible. So other ones are growing, but Google is still the king. And when it comes to our very special niche, iGaming, we have restrictions. So you cannot really use too much of TikTok, which is growing as a search engine. It doesn't really work on Insta that much. It doesn't work on Facebook. I'm not saying that we cannot advertise there, but our customers not always want to be somehow marked that they play in casino, just like they don't want to be known that they're dieting, So there are certain things that just work through the search. And when we bring you a player through SEO, through the search, people are searching how to play casino online, how to deposit. They are actually good quality acquisitions because they are looking how to, they want to. When you come through programmatic, you just might click on an ad, think about it later, come back through SEO. So SEO must be there. And Google is, for this reason, very important to us. But I will still say, keep an eye on Bing, keep an eye on Yahoo, because especially when Google is going crazy and with their updates just like changing all the game, few percent, 7, 8, 10% that are coming from Bing and Yahoo might be lifesaver.
Nice. Now, you mentioned there a couple of updates we've had this year, and obviously, I think you mentioned before as well, this can really be make or break for businesses in the iGaming sector, I think, especially for affiliates. So, John, in your experience over the past few months since March and since we've seen those two updates, how would you describe the kind of major changes that we saw there, and what's the impact been on affiliate businesses?
Well, I think the changes have been all over the place, and it's kind of ironic that we've had a series of Google updates starting from helpful content update in, I think, September, going up to what seems like constant updates. You roll back the last 10 years, a lot of these updates were like one per year, not one or two per month. So I think we're just seeing a lot of disruption. And then the irony is that, the API leak from Google just basically exposed what was happening. So I've had the luxury of being able to chat with a lot of SEO experts and saying, what would you do starting with helpful content update without even knowing where we were going? And, we were seeing all sorts of AI content. And what a lot of these SEO people were saying, it's like, you need to think on a different level. You got to be like a product, because if you're just creating information sites, well, we can all do that. AI can do that. And I mean, why is your Bet365 casino review worthy of being in the top 10 when there are thousands and thousands of these pages? So I think a lot of affiliates are being caught in a middle zone where what worked in the last 10 years is definitely not working today. And the ones that have actually had the right mindset, they're in the right positioning. And my take on that, just to kind of tie into what Ivana was saying, is I think players, they want to trust an affiliate site that can speak their language, that says you understand the product. It sounds like a simple concept, but there's so many information sites that the owner of that site's not playing the games. And I think this is why we're seeing streamers and video taking on another level where it's realness. It's people want to buy from people, and a basic page of content, it just doesn't cut it anymore.
So are you seeing a growing appetite for that kind of thing, for advertising through streamers, for example, which would be I guess that would be a form of affiliation that's less heavily reliant on SEO?
Yeah, it's kind of like, what Ivana was saying, where it's like the habits of where people want to go to find things or to learn about trust or even use something as a search concept. It's not always happening on Google. I mean, my personal take is YouTube is going to dominate Google's searches capabilities. So when you look at all these different channels, it's like, well, why can't Twitch become just as impactful of a search channel as TikTok? We're already seeing, like, look at what Twitter's doing. They're going more into video. Facebook with Instagram, it's going hard into video. And I think what's advantageous for some of these people is that video is very intimidating for a lot of people. Everyone's hidden behind an alias or a fake name. Now it's kind of like, no, you have to show yourself as a personality. And for me, it's part of this buyer journey. People want to buy from people, and the more you can put that forward, I think these are the signals that are going to be important, where what's the influence of social signals for search? I think now Google's saying we can't ignore this anymore. This is why Reddit is so popular. And I don't know about you, but when I search for things, sometimes I'm actually including the keyword Reddit in my search, because it's like, I know exactly what I want. I don't want Google's results. I want Google giving me Reddit. And I just think Google's better at feeding me that Reddit result.
Yeah, Reddit is definitely changing the game. I mean, I don't really like always the answers, and I don't like that Google partnered up with them that heavily, because it basically means that they connected their APIs, and anything that's on Reddit gets indexed much faster and ranks better. And not always the answers are correct or fantastic, and it's open to abuse. And I don't like that we used to rely on Google as being the one knowing everything. You would Google it, right? It became a thing, Googling. And now Google is claiming we don't have the right answers. People do, because people, as you correctly said, became very anonymous, started to abuse AI, and just didn't even check the information. So Google is saying people have the right answers. That's why we're pushing Reddit. And they keep saying it for a while. They have, the nodes and the like buttons and the hidden gems, and they're really trying to push user-generated content as the right content. So I think for affiliation, answer is, if you can, and it's not for everyone, not for every market, be a little bit like as gamblers, when you allow people to create content on your site. However, this comes with lots of monitoring, making sure someone is not abusing your authority, someone is not publishing spam, someone is not breaking compliance rules. So it is a very tricky situation, but definitely Reddit has changed the game, and so has YouTube. And I agree with you, YouTube is basically instant answer to eat. You are a human talking about something. If you have the guts to put yourself on YouTube or any other streaming, you are basically putting yourself into a position of authority, of an expert. So you're answering it right away. And I think people don't know it is it. They don't know we call it it. But that's what Google wants. They want to make sure it's content for people, by people, even if you use help of AI, but it's still a human behind it. So I think that's why Google is pushing all this user-generated content. And I think that's why we consume it better.
Yeah. Now, just to explain, in case anybody listening isn't aware, EAT stands for expertise, authority, and trust. Is that right?
Yeah, and experience. Now we have double EAT.
Experience. Okay,
Yeah. But you got it almost right. Yeah. Kudos to you.
Yeah, but the good thing is that on our podcast, almost doesn't count. But, Conor, we will just take notes and I will quiz you next week. But touching down exactly where we are right now, because with the latest update, and if I'm not mistaken, content being created by people, for people, especially the last update hit different as soon as it comes to, the global news website like New York Times. And if I'm not mistaken, within the search results, specific tags like betting or casino have been, taking off. That's why these sites do not rank anymore. Ivana, can you just pick us up on that topic? Because it's quite interesting.
All right. So you're talking basically about parasite SEO, which means abusing a huge website such as CNN.com, for example, and implanting betting or gaming or coupons or anything else into it, outranking everyone, even better results, because you're abusing authority. Yes, this was happening. And I always say this is SEO's job. We need to break the search. We are going to try to bring you the cheapest traffic. We're going to try every possible trick that was there, and we're going to invent new bag of tricks. So that's why Google needs to invent themselves, because we keep inventing ourselves. And yes, we created so-called parasite SEO, which can be done in three forms, either on subdomain, casino.cnn, for example, or there is actually jackpot.rtl.de, huge TV, but they have got their own casino. This is where you partner up with people, and it's easy to spot, and it's easy to remove. Then you have got subfolder when you have huge websites such as I don't know, anything, and you just put whole subfolder of gaming. This is heavily abused by affiliation. They would buy an existing website with massive traffic and just implement gaming into it, even though the website before was about something completely else. And this could work and it could not. Depends on the market, depends on a niche of the website, and depend how you do it. The tone of voice, the rate of implementation, it can work beautifully and can make you lots of money. Or you can basically, as a parasite, abuse the website for a short time and kill it. And then the most common is in a post. So you would see this a lot on thesun.co.uk, thesun.io, or any other, and you would just buy a post, put top list on it with your affiliate tracking links, and people click on it and convert, which of course is really, really tricky because it goes right against the helpful content, which is supposed to be, you are giving them expertise in this field. Casino.org does it. They have expertise in a field, but I was studying parasite SEO in Australia, and they were outranked by First Post, which is a newspaper there. Even though they have got 27 years of data, 27 years of reviews, of traffic, of returning players, they still got outranked by parasite SEO. And this is the trick. So Google got fed up and they started to remove it. How they remove it? They started to do manual penalties. And this is very weird for Google because all Google's business is based on having an amazing algorithm that is able to scrape billions of websites in a second and find the best answer on content, speed, user experience, click-through rate, traffic to website, and what have you. There is lots and lots and lots of things. And suddenly, with the latest things, such as parasite SEO, they are not able to do it because it's very difficult to say this is parasite, this it isn't. So they're giving manual penalties. And yes, they cleaned up, and they cleaned up quite a lot. We saw either complete removal of the subfolders, subdomains, or posts, for example, on LinkedIn. You can as well see drop in traffic that's quite drastic. Sorry, there is a question, so I'll leave it up to you. I was like, sorry, something's speaking to you.
But just touching down on this one, because John, you just did some stats and research on how it actually has hit companies running these so-called parasite website. Can you just enlighten us a little bit with your statistics?
Sure. I don't have a ton of stats, but I mean, I've been following what's been happening with a lot of existing sites. And I know a few different affiliates that have shared what it's done for them, like ones that have been very good at parasite SEO and have just slammed them. So those stats I can't share because that's confidential. But just to elaborate or expand on what Ivana was saying, I mean, a really good example is the Wirecutter. It was acquired by, I think it was New York Times or something like that. They moved it into a folder. Now, I think the way you would actually do this so-called parasite SEO properly would be to build that as its own entity. Pretend like you've got Better Collective as like a group, and that's part of your division, rather than just producing this one-page article as a single blog post or an actual section that's called casinos and ranking for it and using your authority. So what I've researched and heard from a lot of SEOs is that not everyone's been slapped down equally. Some people have been hit really hard. Some have been like they might have lost traffic by the tune of 50%, which is not so bad. Others have been just decimated, where they basically said, "This is game over. We're deleting this folder completely." So I think we're seeing changes all over the place, and I don't really see parasite SEO disappearing fully, but I do see a change where it's like, well, what is this concept of product and quality? When you think about what digital PR is, it's like, how do you create links that link to your brand or entity that are like the highest authority, that come with relevancy? And I think this is what we're moving towards. I think what worked in the past is just it's done, and anyone who's had a quality mindset in the past, they're actually benefiting from it. So again, I won't call out which sites have really tanked and which ones have skyrocketed, but the easiest ones to spot that have skyrocketed, ironically enough, are the complaint services. So Casino Meister, Ask Gamblers, the POG was actually on a major uptick, Casino.guru. These are product, and they actually come with their own search. So people search for Bet365 Casino Meister, Bet365 Ask Gamblers. That's why Gig bought all this stuff. Their SEO team, they are amazing. You got to get them on board on this call. And yeah, there's still a lot more research being coming out. And I follow a few people on Twitter. One is Lily Ray, and another person is Glenn Alsop from detail.com. Those two are talking, they're sharing a lot of data on what's really happening in the global affiliate space, where it does tie in perfectly with iGaming.
Okay, I have some data on parasite SEO, but if you want Lily Ray on a podcast, I can get you in touch. She's actually very approachable. So I found data. Okay, I'm not going to name sites, but I'm going to tell you countries that dropped the most. So we see 95% drop on parasite SEO searches or results in America, 85% drop in UK. Next one with a huge drop is India with 64%. Then it's Australia with 48%, same as Ireland. So you can see Google is going first after the English-speaking countries because their algorithm using AI understands English the best. Where is it still thriving is Italy with plus 5%. And who didn't lose the most is France with minus 1%, Spain with minus 2%, and Germany with minus 14%. This is not just pure iGaming. This is altogether parasite SEO. So if you're still thinking of doing it, I would say try to do it. Why not? We are SEOs, we need to try, but don't go for the English-speaking markets. Go for the ones that were not hit that much, and be clever about it. Don't make it as a, sore thumb sticking out. Like when you have jackpot.rtl.de, it's obvious. And I think what is important to note here as well is that Google was not fair once again, and big sites abusing parasite SEO such as CNN or LA Independent and others got 2 weeks warning to remove their parasite SEO before they started to give manual penalties, or they could just de-index the whole folder, subfolder, or subdomain. So Google was not playing nice, but Google isn't. So not a surprise there. But I just want to point out that if you believe everything Google says, think twice, because they are business. and they have got partnerships and they need to make money. So every time you hear something, even from these leaks, because I reported on leaks already in November and I don't see anything really new there. But again, I always keep saying, keep it in mind that this is maybe manipulation from Google. Right now, there was a problem with the AI overviews. People were criticizing it a lot. They thought it's the next thing and they were getting it wrong and telling people, make a sauce with non-toxic glue for your pizza, or if you are depressed, jump from the bridge. Not good advice. And this took SEO community by storm. We were criticizing it. And suddenly Google is like, oops, look, there is a leak. Talk about something else. So I would say every time you want to incorporate this in your strategy, think twice if that's actually good advice or it's a manipulation.
Yeah, super interesting point. And I also want to come back to what you were mentioning about how this has taken place very differently in different markets. My understanding is that a lot of these big updates hit those core English-speaking markets first, and then gradually they get rolled out across the rest of the world. So should this latest update in the US, in the UK, Australia, serve as a bit of a warning to affiliates in other countries? Like maybe it'll take a year, maybe it'll take 2 years, but this is coming for you too?
Well, I think Google is a business. So they first go after the places where they make money. And if they take your SEO results in America or in UK for any business, there is PPC you can invest. But I'm from Slovakia. They don't care that we even exist. It's 5 million people with no money or none of that interest. So usually Google update, even if it's AI content, spammy links, whatever, it does not touch them. So I think you need to think once again as a business. And I'm not saying it's never going to hit you. Sweden see volatility, even though they are not English speaking, but there is a huge budget. And just think of Google on PPC ads last year, they reported $162 billion as a profit. And this is what they want. They want money. So they're going to touch first the countries that they can make money, which is the English speaking countries, obviously, huge countries. But if you got hit, maybe rethink your strategy and go to markets that are not being hit left and right, So again, think twice when you're trusting Google. And I'm not against Google. I mean, it's my bread and butter. I'm just saying that through the 16 years, I learned that Google tells you links are not important. Yes, they are important. It's like do exact opposite sometimes.
Yeah. And just to add to that, I would say, you don't really want to have all your eggs in one basket. Sure, Google has been the biggest player for quite some time, but I'm sure we can all envision a ChatGPT, OpenAI search engine that could probably be better. And if Google's creating such disruptive results right now, I think people are already shifting towards other search engines. And, just to go back, Google's been building their PMAX, it's like their performance ad network, for quite some time. I'm pretty sure that every disruption they've made was very strategic. I don't think this is by accident. I think their search engine is kind of accidental in trying to make it better. But I think they knew that when the disruptions were going to happen, people would lose traffic, and then they'd hopefully come back to Google saying, hey, we need to buy this traffic because we realize how valuable it is. Google makes all their money this way. So I've heard that they're just doing record performance. So my quick tip to summarize all that is, you got to think long-term and go, what can I do that's going to be such an amazing product that it sells itself, that people talk about it within Slack groups without having to rely on Google, where if Google drops you for whatever reason, you drop too. When you're a strong product, like let's say Credit Karma or an Ask Gamblers, your product stands on its own and Google has no reason to even consider de-indexing you.
Yeah, good advice, John. And let me just say to everybody in the comments at the moment, feel free to pose a question to our experts while we have them with us. But Ivana, maybe you want to follow up on that and tell us any more kind of, whether it's small tips and tricks or more general advice for, let's say, smaller independent affiliates at the moment who maybe are suffering with the results of these updates. Where should they be turning their attention to now?
I would like to say first that March update was really unfair to smaller sites. And even if the website was good with good content and good links, I'm a geek. I follow a lot of things and I track lots of things. They dropped. And sites that are bigger and longer online, even if their content flags AI 90%, they stayed. And this is English speaking markets, I'm saying, because obviously it's easiest for me to understand, unless it's Czech or Slovak. If you suffer through that, I'm very sorry. You're not the only one, and you did most likely something wrong or nothing wrong, but you didn't definitely break everything that you deserve to be dropped. So I would just for now sadly forget the website that got hit by Google because we are not seeing recovery. Helpful content update started to hit some website. I'm sorry, but that's the most unhelpful content update ever because they don't tell you what is helpful, what not. One thing that is according to them unhelpful is building a website for business. Google was built for business. If I'm gonna build something, unless it's my hobby site, I probably want to make money from it. So that is very unfair advice. So if you dropped and the March update just put the last nail into your coffin, move on from those websites and start a new project. Look into if you are in SEO and in iGaming, look into countries that were not hit that much. I would say non-English speaking countries or smaller markets. So if you are keen on English speaking markets, go to maybe Africa that wasn't hit. So do Nigeria, do South Africa, try to do Singapore, do countries that were not hit. So stay away from India that we already running dry because money, everybody, let's go there. And if you are adventurous with other languages, Arabic speaking countries didn't get hit. Vietnam, some of them with Parasite, yes, but not the previous update. Vietnam is really growing. There are so many other markets you can turn your attention to. And I would say don't rely on Google only. Try to do YouTube videos, try to do something original. YouTube is a good channel, however, it's very tied to Google. So I would still try to look somewhere else as well. And as you mentioned, that if ChatGPT makes a search engine, it would be amazing. And actually announced it a few weeks back that they are looking into building one. It didn't fly. It was supposed to be announced 9th of May, if I'm not mistaken, but actually the announcement stopped. But I think they are very close to making one because I think they tested and saw some problems, just like Google with AI, but Google has released a half-cooked product. And what we're seeing now, Google is pulling back. People don't like the AI overviews. People are just not interacting with them. So in general, there was around 17% of any search triggered AI overview. Now it dropped generally to 2.5%. And this is for America because we don't, thanks God, have them in Europe. And what we saw most, the jeans dropped from 20% to 0. Credit cards dropped quite a lot. Lots of things just dropped. And when I was testing SGE, it didn't trigger anything for casino and betting, thanks God, only for retention keywords. But you never know when they come back stronger with this. So I'm very happy that for now, they realize they really messed up and they are taking a step back. And I would wish for anyone out there that, especially if you lost your traffic through March, that they will roll back the March update because that was a horrible one and very unfair and it wasn't helpful.
Yeah. Now, are there things that affiliates can do if they want to specifically target, for example, Bing users or Yahoo users? So you'll be targeting, obviously, a much smaller cohort of users, but perhaps there are things you can do to rank better on those search engines so that you can really outstrip the competition, basically. Is there advice for those kinds of things?
My advice
I can
would be
speak, but I'll let
Ivana.
John just for a second. Okay, I'll go.
Yeah.
The rules are very, very similar to Google. But when you think of Bing, it's a little bit actually advanced to Google because Google just stopped sort of doing good things. And with Bing, you have got index now protocol. So you don't index 10 pages a day, you can do 1,000. So you can actually, if you build a good content, you can index faster on Bing. And this could help you with indexing on Google as well. They're basically very similar rules apply. We had a few years back the Yanks leaks, and it was the same. It was links, it was content, it was dwell time, it was click-through rate, it was traffic to your website. So basically the same as Google, but you can use the index protocol now, which is a fantastic thing.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add because I'm not really focused on Bing. I'm just focused on more SEO for my B2B business. But I'll share a quick story from the past few weeks of being at some of the conferences, including Next, where I got to listen to a bunch of affiliates and PPC specialists talk. And I've heard some of them say in certain channels that Bing can be twice the conversion rate. And when you think about it, when everyone targets a single channel, it gets super saturated. Like it's like English, and then it's like English Google. It's if you're ignoring Bing, I think there's probably a lot of really good opportunities. And maybe the reasons why people don't talk about it as much is because it's like their own parasite SEO. They don't want to share this with you. It's like they're keeping this to themselves.
Bing is growing. Google, so keep sparing Google. And
some super interesting points there. Nico, what's your reaction to all this? What are you thinking?
Yeah, so it's always interesting to get hold on what's actually happening and what we can see, because as soon as the latest update of Google actually hit or has hit all the SEO websites, especially like the big affiliate companies, the Catena Medias, the Better Collective, out of a sudden some of them literally dropped in traffic to nearly 0%, and they actually signed deals with guaranteed traffic. So it's not like you're losing the traffic, you're also losing big time of business, because you signed a deal with operators like, okay, we guarantee you XYZ traffic on a monthly basis. Out of a sudden, you can't guarantee or you can't fulfill a contract which you signed to the operators, and this is hitting your company and your balance sheets quite big time. So that was very, very interesting. Then, diversifying your portfolio, not just, relying on the one search engine. We have like the Googles, we have the Yahoos, we have the Bings, etc. And then, dealing with all the buzzwords like the PPC, the CPA, whatever, the retention rate, even if a user costs you 20% more on Bing, but the retention rate is 100% more, in the end and in the long run, it's still a more valuable player. And just to pick up what John just said, the affiliate business is so interesting, especially from an operator side, because they usually never open up which websites they actually own and run. Out of a sudden, you just get traffic. So it's a very, very interesting forks, and there is so much to learn from these rock stars. And once again, shout out to the both of you to actually enlighten us and give us a glimpse of what you have been facing and seen for the last couple of weeks based on your years and years and years of experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I can echo that. So maybe it would make sense for us to wrap up, John and Ivana. Maybe you could tell us what these recent updates have made you think about the future of SEO and affiliation. What does it signal to you is coming down the road in the next 12 months, 3 years, 5 years? What are your expectations?
I think I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, obviously, and I kind of look at what types of roles are appearing with some of the companies that are the ones that are the trendsetters in affiliate marketing. And one I keep circling back to is product. I've seen this even before the helpful content update, and it's like product designer, product owner. And when you start looking at the really big sites like the Better Collectives, the casino.orgs, they value these people. And then when you start digging a bit further, it's kind of like, well, what has Google done in the last 6 months? They've kind of given a little less prominence to affiliate sites that are just simply capturing demand, and they're moving this over to e-commerce. So I think affiliates need to look at themselves as products first. And if your site is just another information portal, it's not good enough. That is the biggest trend. And maybe one more quick tip before I go is talk to affiliate managers and go, what trends are you seeing happen? That gives me insane insights where sometimes they share like a lot of info, but they're really telling you streamers are doing this. Oh, I've seen this market do this. When you start asking, all you have to do is ask. And again, these affiliate managers aren't really volunteering this in open forums like this, unless you bring those managers in and put them on the hot seat.
Nice. Good insights, John. Ivana, what are your expectations for the next few years of affiliate marketing and SEO?
Well, from SEO, I can promise you it's going to be volatile. We see Google updating their algorithm almost daily by now. I mean, there is not a week that I wouldn't report, look, there is a volatility happening. Last time was 1st of June. Now, yesterday was another one. And we see just things happening all over. So, don't be concerned with those too much. Just keep an eye on it. But it is going to be happening. Just prepare for a bumpy ride. And I really, really agree with John. Create a product. Just don't write a review. Maybe your product is more concentrating on slots, and you have got every week a new slot reviews. Like this week we're doing slots on music, and then on Egypt or something. Just give them something and create videos to it when they see you play or how the mechanics work. Just come up with something a little bit more original, because those copycats are out there. It became extremely easy with AI to create your own affiliate website, and keep sort of customer on mind, because we really slipped into creating content for Google, not even for other search engines, for Google. And obviously, we're seeing it now that if people are not sticking around with your website, if they are not completing the journey, if they are not enjoying it, they are dropping off. It is a ranking signal. It was confirmed by Google, and those sites drop more than the others. So write for people, obviously optimize for Google. I'm not saying stop optimizing, but write for people in a language they can understand you. Create some fun around it, or some, as you said, product around it, stand out somehow, and look into markets that are not that saturated and Google is not targeting that much. And when it comes to affiliation, is always going to be around, especially now as Gig has bought everything. It opened up markets, so build something amazing so Gig has something to buy in 2 years. And when it comes to Nico, looking at him, I think he's very happy he's not in SEO. He looks like he's passing a kidney stone right now, listening to us, quite frankly. So you feel my pain, right? And this is 16 years of my life. I mean,
Yeah,
I can, but
I can feel the pain, but I'm always happy. So that's the reason why I'm enjoying it so much with the one and only Conor Mulheir here, and being joined by experts like you. And in the end, we can just learn from each other. And there are always kind of rumors going around what actually feeds the bull, feeds the animal, with respect to what is leading. Is it the pricing? Is it the marketing campaign? Is it the product? And as soon as it comes to stickiness, it's always the product. So if people don't like your product anymore, you will significantly drop in customers, in value, and this comes across all the borders and across the whole value chain.
There you have it, the closing statement from the one and only Nico Jansen. Let me say once again, Ivana Flynn and John Wright, thank you very much for joining us and sharing all of your insights with us this afternoon. It's been super interesting to hear about all these changes from your perspective. So we're going to let you go, but thank you once again for joining us here on Weekly News, and we hope to invite you back very soon. They'll be changing the algorithm again next week, so we'll bring you back and chat about it some more, I'm sure.
Thank you. Google never disappoints. Of course, there will be a change.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, Nico, there you have it. What a great episode. What did you think?
Yeah, that was awesome. Because we've just seen like actual hints and advice, which you usually don't get in this kind of depth. And wow, there's a lot of information to actually process.
Yeah, lots to process. I'll be watching this one back for all the top tips that I missed, because there was certainly a lot to talk about. Nico, anything else you want to say before we log off and carry on with our afternoons?
So I'm not facing any issues with a kind of ripped apart kidney or whatever Ivana was assuming. I still suffer from losing the quiz to her, but is there any other way to lose to an awesome woman like Ivana? And as long as you can hold back your ego just a little bit, and you just acknowledge that her team was way better than me, myself, and I, and my team. I'm just taking the blame. It's always the Germans' blame. But getting back to it, it was so nice because we just onboarded these experts with short notice just last week, and it's awesome that they actually made time for us to enlighten us while there's still a big war on SEO and Google going on. So as you could feel and hear, it's not like they don't know how to spend their time. And once again, shout out to these tools to actually make some time and enlighten us and the whole audience on that specific topic.
Yeah, absolutely, Nico. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say once again, thank you to you for keeping us coming every week. You always keep it fresh, you keep it fun, and we love having you with us. So thank you, Nico. Thank you also to Place and to Hub 88 for sponsoring this episode. And thank you for everybody in the audience for leaving your comments and saying hello. You make this stream special every week, and we will be here at the same time, same place next week. Actually, yes, we will. Next week, Nico, same time, same place. We'll see you back here. Thanks again, once again, to everybody, and Yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.